This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. Hare Krishna. A very warm welcome to our program on Srimad Bhagavatam study. Today is our 55th class on this program. And today we will continue our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam second chapter from 8th verse to 32nd verse. I made a small mistake here. Just let me correct it. This is the second chapter, 8th verse. Okay. So the title of this chapter, as given by Srila Prabhupada in Srimad Bhagavatam, is "The Lord in the Heart." Why this title? Primarily because we are talking about the process of meditation of a advanced yogi who meditates upon the Paramatma form situated in the heart. So that is the reason why the chapter has been given the title "The Lord in the Heart." And today we will try to cover many verses from this chapter, right from 8th verse till the 32nd verse. But before we start our discussion, we'll request Manish ji to kindly recite Mangalacharan prayers for the devotees in the class. Yes.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhu and Hare Krishna to all devotees. Om Ajnana Timirandasya
Prabhu, we lost your voice.
Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guruna Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Savadhitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitya Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamshta He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Sri Radhe Vrindavaneshwarai Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
We lost your voice, Prabhu.
भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णवासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपाकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now we come to the next part of our class, which is the recap of the previous class, class number 54. And in class number 54, we discussed part of chapter 1, which is the last part of the chapter 1. And we also started our discussion on the chapter 2. And we discussed first 7 verses of the chapter 2. So a brief recap of both these chapters. So as you know, what is going on in Srimad Bhagavatam right now is at the end of the first canto, Parikshit Maharaj had asked some 3 questions to Shukdev Goswami. So the question that was asked was, what is the duty of a man in general? What is the duty of a man, specifically a dying man? And then what is one supposed to do and not supposed to do? So these are primarily the 3 questions that Parikshit Maharaj asked Shukdev Goswami. Now, Shukdev Goswami starts to answer these questions in the second canto, first chapter. And using first 11 verses of the first chapter in the second canto, he kind of answers all the three questions what Parikshit Maharaj had asked. And the answer in short is, it is bhakti, my dear Parikshit, which is the duty of a person in general, and which is the duty of a person specifically who is dying. So the answer is given very loud and clear in the first 11 verses. So in one sense, the discussion is over. But it is not that so easy that simply if you give this answer, then everybody would be convinced in the audience. And in the audience, there were many, many sages coming from different planets, different places, and who were more, who probably were of a different opinion on what is the duty of a person, what is the duty of a dying man, and so on. And in order to address these kind of transcendentalists, these kind of sages, Shukdev Goswami starts to elaborate on the process of Ashtanga Yoga. Why? Because many of the sages in the assembly, a large part of the sages in the assembly were of the opinion that Ashtanga Yoga probably was the process or the duty of a person who is about to die. He should perform Ashtanga Yoga. That is the duty of a person. So, in order to satisfy these kind of transcendentalists, these kind of sages, Shukdev Goswami starts to elaborate on the process of Ashtanga Yoga. So he starts to explain the process of Ashtanga Yoga. He explains what is the various stages of Ashtanga Yoga: Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharan, Dhyan, Samadhi, etc., etc. And while he's explaining this process, Parikshit Maharaj asked this question: what is the Dharanashraya of a Ashtanga Yogi? What is the Dharanashraya? Dharanashraya means the object of meditation in the stage of Dharana. What is the object of meditation? Whom this Ashtanga Yogi is supposed to meditate upon? What is he supposed to meditate upon? Is he supposed to meditate upon a light, or sun, or moon, or stars, or is there any form? Anything. So what is the object of meditation? So in order to answer these questions of Parikshit Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami is giving this answer that the object of meditation of a neophyte, of a yogi, could be, there are two possibilities. If a neophyte yogi has purified himself of desire, if a yogi has purified himself, then he should meditate upon the Paramatma feature of the of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, he should actually focus mostly on the Virat Rupa form of the Lord. So that is what it is going on now. So we started our discussion in the previous class from verse number 24 and continued till the end of the chapter, which is verse number 39. So this is what you can see here. Shukdev answers that Dharanashraya of the neophyte devotee is the gigantic Virat form of the Lord. This form is situated within the universal shell. So the answer is that if a yogi is neophyte means he's not completely pure of his desires. He still has some desires of the Pratyahar stage, and he's now about to enter into the Dharana stage. Still he has some desires, some material desires. Then better he should meditate upon the Virat Roop of the Lord. And somebody might ask this question, where is this Virat Roop? Then the answer is, this Virat Roop is situated in the Brahmanda, universal shell, Brahmanda. Then, now to elaborate upon what is this Virat Roop? What is this Virat Roop? He explains, and he starts an elaborate discussion from verse number 26 till 37. And we had given in our class table. We have not discussed this in a form in the form of Sanskrit verses or maybe English translation. We just gave you a table in which different aspects of the universe, whatever you can imagine. There are rivers, trees, birds, animals, and so many other things in this universe. And each and everything can be mapped with something, with some limb of the body of this Virat Purusha. So from this 26 to 37th verse, Shukdev Goswami now describes the various limbs of Virat Roop. We discussed this very briefly in the form of a table. So I will not go into that detail because that is something which is more of a value to us as an information, not for our application. So we need not dwell a lot on this detail. Now, chapter 1 ends with verse number 38 and 39. And in these verses, Shukdev Goswami concludes this discussion that a neophyte yogi should meditate upon the Virat Roop. If he meditates on any other form, it will lead to his degradation. So there is because why this is important for us. Meditating on another form will lead to degradation. This is what Shukdev Goswami mentioned, because there are many kind of meditators in the form or in the pretext of doing yoga or asana or pranayam or dhyan, whatever. They say that they may actually meditate upon light, they can meditate upon some sound, they can meditate upon some other form. So that is not recommended. Uh, Either a yogi should meditate upon Virat Roop, or if a yogi is advanced, then he should meditate upon Paramatma. Meditating on any other thing is not recommended as far as Bhagavatam is concerned. So that is what is important for us to understand. Then we entered into the second chapter. In the second chapter, actually the discussion was supposed to continue because Shukdev Goswami has just now concluded his discussion that what a neophyte yogi should do as far as his object of meditation, his dharanashra is concerned, what is supposed to do? And the answer is supposed to meditate upon the Virat form. Now the natural discussion that we would expect or someone would expect actually would be on that he should explain what is the dharanashraya of an advanced yogi. But it does not happen like that. Shukdev Goswami takes a detour. He paused that discussion for a moment and starts to narrate a little bit about Karma Kanda. And why Karma Kanda? The reason is same. That in the assembly, there were some sages who thought that the duty of a dying man was karma. Karma means karma kanda. Or by performing these karma kanda activities, one should go to Swarga, should go to heaven, like that. So in order to address their opinion in the assembly, Shukdev Goswami started this discussion about karma kanda. And what he does here is primarily he rejects karma kanda. Before he enters into the discussion of karma kanda, there is the very first verse in the second chapter, which only gives an example of Brahmaji, that Brahmaji was one such person who actually meditated upon the Virat Roop of the Supreme Lord. Just to give you, or just to give Shukdev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj an idea that is there any example that you can give who meditated upon the Virat form? The answer is Brahmaji. So that is one passing remark Shukdev Goswami makes. Then he moves on to his discussion further, and he starts now elaborating upon Karma Kanda aspect. So as I mentioned here, now Shukdev sidetracks. Although the discussion should continue on the Dharanashraya of an advanced yogi, the sidetracks begins. He starts discussion about Karma Kanda. This is mainly to address the opinion of some sages holding karma to attain Swarga as the duty of dying. Now, Shukdev Goswami actually condemns the path of Karma Kanda. And how does he condemn the path of Karma Kanda? He says that it only gives temporary pleasure, as if it is a dream. It is only a temporary pleasure. It is only a dream. Like in a dream, we get some pleasure, but that dream or that pleasure is over as soon as the dream is over. Similarly, in Karma Kanda, the person may do some yajna, etc., and then go to heavens. But after his pious deeds are over, then he falls from the heaven and actually comes back to the same earthly reality. So it is only shortly. So there is no benefit, there is no use of this kind of a pleasure. You are simply wasting your time going up and down, going to heaven, then coming back to the original position. What have you gained actually? Nothing. Came back to the same position. And then he starts to recommend something else. And what that something else is, he starts to recommend that path which actually is transcendental, which actually liberates you from this bondage of cycle of birth and death. So what he says? He says that an intelligent person actually should endeavor only for the minimum necessities in life. So what he's trying to say is that you are trying to do karma kanda, trying to go to heavens, coming back to the earth planet, only wasting your time. Instead of that, you should only strive for minimum necessities in life. For as far as the material opulence is concerned, material benefit is concerned, strive only for minimum necessities. Don't strive for so many other opulent things, because it is only wasting your time. You are. How does it matter if you sit on the floor or you sit on the sofa? The function of sitting can be achieved simply by sitting on the floor. For if you want to sit on the sofa, you have to work hard, you have to earn money, you have to purchase a sofa, you have to organize a house, you have to put the sofa there, you have to maintain the sofa. So much time, energy you will spend on simply for a simple function of performing a simple function of sitting. So simple living and high thinking. That is what Shukdev Goswami is recommending here to Parikshit Maharaj. And then he very poetically describes what does it mean to have minimum necessities in life. So he's saying, use flat earth for rest. And so why do you need a bed? When there's a earth available, why do you need a bed? Use your arms to sleep. Why do you need a pillow? Use your hands for drinking water. Why do you need utensils? Like this, he gives several examples to Parikshit Maharaj that simple living and high thinking should be the choice of an intelligent person. Uh, that is how he's motivating Parikshit Maharaj. Then he says that why do we don't even need any paraphernalia for the worship of the Lord. Worshipping of the Lord can be very simple because he's situated in the heart. Simply meditate upon the Lord. So that is how you can worship the Lord also. Then he concludes his discussion on karma kanda by saying that only a gross materialist will be attracted to this path. Any other intelligent person will follow the path of bhakti or liberation. So like that, he concludes his discussion on karma kanda. Actually, he is rejecting karma kanda very, very severely. He's actually holding path of liberation much better than the process of karma kanda. And then later on, we will see in this chapter that even from the path of liberation, which is Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, path of bhakti is the recommended and the opinion of Shukdev Goswami. That's what we will see probably in our next class. But today we will conclude our discussion on uh, the path that the advanced yogi, the Ashtanga yogi, the kind of meditation he performs. That is what we are going to focus in today's class. So we will continue the discussion now. Okay. Now you are on the overview map. So what we have done this section, verse number 2 to 7, rejection of karma kanda. Now we are going to start the discussion from 8th to 12th verse, where the description of super soul is there. So Shukdev Goswami now once again comes back to the original track. What is the original track? The original track was, what is the dharanashraya of a yogi? He already answered that the dharanashraya of a neophyte yogi is Virat Roop. Now he continues the discussion. What is the dharanashraya of an advanced yogi? So Shukdev Goswami now continues to answer question 2 about the bona fide dharanashraya. Already mentioned Virat Roop as the dharanashraya of a neophyte yogi. Virat Roop is described in the last part of the chapter 1. We just now discussed this in the summary also. And then now he describes the form of Paramatma, which is the dharanashraya for an advanced yogi or a detached yogi. And that is dharana on Paramatma is superior to dharana on Virat Roop. Okay. So this table, which you see on your screen now, which summarizes the content of verse number 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, where now Shukdev Goswami is giving the description of the Paramatma in the heart of a living entity. So we all know that we have Paramatma in our heart, but how does that Paramatma looks like? What is the size? What is the appearance? What is the demeanor? Everything. So he gives a very elaborate, very distinctive discussion of Paramatma in the heart, on which this advanced yogi actually meditates. This is much more beautiful This is much more devotional compared to the description of Virat Roop. Virat Roop, where he is describing about all the elements available in the universe, and that you can equate with one limb of the Virat Roop, of the Virat form or Virat body of the Supreme Lord. Now, we will request some devotees from the class to read the text on the slides. So anyone would like to volunteer?
Hare Krishna, I'll do Prabhu.
So this is Anuradha Mataji,
Yes, Prabhu, I want to do Prabhu. I'm also there.
Anand Prada Mataji, and what was the third voice?
Me, the love is there.
Vrindavaneshwari.
At your service, Prabhu.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you. Okay. So Anuradha Mataji, just read the text for 8th verse. There are 3 bullet points. Just read that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. 8th one I have to read, Prabhu.
Only 8th, and then we will slowly go on one by one. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Resides in the region of the heart, size 8 inches, 4 hands, carrying Kanja, Rathanga, Shanka, Gada. 9th one. Mouth expresses.
But okay, just hold on for a while.
Yes,
I will just give a little explanation of some details about the 8th verse. So the 8th verse is talking about the Paramatma, and Shukdev Goswami is saying, where is this Paramatma situated? He is situated in the region of the heart. Region of the heart means the location where the heart is situated. He is in the same region, same area. That is where he is situated. Then he is talking about the size of this Paramatma, and the size is given as 8 inches. Size is given as 8 inches. So let me read you from the Pradesh Matram. So the Sanskrit used for 8 inches is Pradesh Matram, and the translation of this Pradesh Matram in Hindi is Ek Bitta. Bitta. Bitta means, if you see your hand, there is a ring finger and there is a thumb. So if you stretch your hand from ring finger to the thumb, so the distance between the tip of the ring finger to the tip of the thumb is roughly 8 inches. My hand is a roughly smaller size, so maybe for a more normal sized person, this might be 8 inches. So that is the size of the Lord is situated in the region of the heart. So that is the size. And then 4 hands. This personality has got 4 hands, Chaturbhuja, and he has Kanja, Rathanga, Shankha, and Gada. And what is Kanja? Kanja means lotus. So you might have heard that prayer, Sri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajaman. That prayer is very famous, written by Tulsidas, and that prayer has one line, Karakanja. Karakanja. Karakanja means lotus hands. So Kanja actually means lotus. Rathanga. Rathanga. Today also we discussed in our class where 38th verse of the third chapter, first canto. Rathanga means Rath means chariot. Anga means limb of a chariot, and limb of a chariot actually means the wheel of the chariot. So wheel is like a chakra. So in one hand he has lotus, in another hand he has got chakra. So like that. And then Shankha and Gada. Shankha, you know Shankha is pronounced as Shankha also in Hindi, and Gada is actually the mace, the club. So that is the explanation here. And Srila Prabhupada writes that this form of the Lord is known as Janardhan. Janardhan means who controls the people. That is known as Janardhan. So that form, the name of this form is known as Janardhan. And also Prabhupada mentions that this form is ever youthful. This is very, very youthful form. So this is some details about the 8th verse. Now Anuradha Mataji, kindly read the bullet points of the 9th verse.
Okay, Prabhu. 9th one. Mouth expresses happiness. Eyes like lotus petals. Garments, yellowish like saffron of Kadamba, bedecked with jewels. Ornaments made of gold, set with jewels. Head, dress and earrings glowing.
Okay. So in the 9th verse, you will see there is more description about the Supreme Lord as Paramatma in the heart. And it is saying that how his face is looking like. His face is full of happiness. It is not like dull or serious. No, it is actually very, very happy face. Happy face. How does his eyes look like? His eyes look like lotus petals. And then how does it garments look like? What is the dress he is wearing? So the color of the garments is given as yellowish, and the yellow is also, the shade of yellow is also mentioned. It is like saffron of Kadamba. Saffron of Kadamba. Saffron of Kadamba means what? So if you see a flower, Kadamba is also one of the flowers. In the flowers, there are many, you can say there are small filaments that come out from the flower. So there are petals of the flower, and then in the middle section of the flower, there are some filaments that are coming out. So they are known as kesar. Kesar in
It
Hindi.
is called as parag or
Parag.
kesar in
Yeah,
Hindi.
Parag or kesar, right? So the kesar or parag of Kadamba is yellowish in nature. So you can Google it. You can Google Kadamba flower and then see the picture of Kadamba flower. So the kesar or the parag of that Kadamba is has a typical yellowish tinge. So that kind of yellow garments our Lord or Paramatma in the heart is wearing. And then the Paramatma is actually ornamented. He's bedecked with jewels. So it is decorated with jewels. But the speciality of the jewel is it is not like gold or silver or diamonds or rubies. No, it is not material in nature. It is transcendental. It is spiritual in nature. It does anything or any part of body, any description of body, like the dress of the body of the Lord or the ornaments on the body of the Lord, they are nothing to do with anything material. Like in this material world, we have these ornaments made of gold, silver, and so on. But the ornaments on the body of the Lord are also spiritual. They are also spiritual. Then made of gold. Gold means they look like gold, and then they are set with jewels. There are rubies, diamonds, etc., on the ornaments. There are headdress and earrings, and they are all glowing. So that is the description in the 9th verse. Okay, Mataji, please read the 10th one also.
Okay. 10th one. Lotus feet and lotus hearts of mystics. Chest, Kaustuba jewel engraved with a beautiful calf. Other jewels on his shoulders. Torso is garlanded with fresh flowers.
Yeah, very nice. Okay. So where are his lotus feet? His lotus feet are situated on the lotus heart of the yogi. So the yogi who is meditating upon the Lord, his heart has been described as a lotus, and this form of the Lord is standing on that lotus. Then on the chest of the Lord, there is a kaustubh jewel, kaustubha mani. And then on this kaustubh mani, there is a beautiful engraving, and that engraving is a calf. एक बछड़े का उसके ऊपर एक एनग्रेविंग है, गाय का जो बछड़ा होता है काफ, उसका एनग्रेविंग उनकी चेस्ट पर जो कॉस्ट्यूम मणि है, that is engraved with a beautiful calf. There are some other jewels on his shoulders, and his torso means the upper part of the body, is garlanded with fresh flowers. So that is the description given in the 10th verse. Please read the 11th one, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. 11. Ornamental red around its waist, rings studded with valuable jewels on his fingers, leglets, bangles, oiled hair, curling with a bluish tint, beautiful smiling face, all are pleasing.
Ornamental wreath around his waist. So there is a ornamental wreath, means there is some decorative ornamental covering or ornament that is surrounding his waist, on the kamar, on the waist. And then rings studded with valuable jewels on his fingers. So there are rings. And there are leglets. Leglets means nupur, like that anklets. So when somebody walks with wearing these nupur, they sound very sweet. Then there are bangles, and his oiled hair curling with bluish tint. The hair description is that they are very, very smooth. They are I would say, smooth. In Hindi, we call them, in Hindi translation, it is mentioned as chikna. Chikna means very, very smooth. And then these hair have a bluish tint, and the face is very smiling, very, very pleasing face. So Prabhupada ji, in his purport, is making one point, very important point here, that this is the factual form of the Lord. There's a very factual description of the Lord given in Srimad Bhagavatam. How does the Lord look like? So why he's giving this description, why he's making this point, that sometimes people think that the form of the Lord that we worship in the temple is actually an imagination. No, it is not an imagination. This is the form given in the scriptures in Srimad Bhagavatam. This is how the Lord looks like. It is not an imagination of a human being or an imagination of a poet. No, it is a factual form given in the description. Even some transcendentalists also have some misconception about the form of the Lord. And some of these transcendentalists, specifically the impersonalists, what do they think? They think that this form of the Lord is only as a facility, as a tool for us to focus our meditation upon. Otherwise, the Lord is not like this, but it is an impersonal form. It is simply like a bright light or a Brahma Jyoti. That is how some impersonalists think. But here, from Srimad Bhagavatam, we can come to know that this form of the Lord is very, very factual. It is not an imagination. So this is something which we need to understand. So that is something from the 11th verse. Now, Mataji, can you read the 12th one?
Yes, Prabhu. 12th one. His pastimes, smiling glances, and shining eyebrows show his mercy. One should meditate on his form until the mind remains in a concentrated state, dharana.
So, Bhagavatam is recommending one should meditate on his form until the mind remains in a concentrated state. So that is something which the dharanashraya of an advanced yogi. An advanced yogi, he should meditate upon this form of the Lord, which the Bhagavatam describes. First of all, in the dharana stage, he has to meditate upon the complete form. And then he enters, he further advances in his meditation. He now meditates upon each and every limb of that form. He first of all meditates upon his lotus feet, then he raises his meditation to the lotus calf, then his thighs, then his belly, then his chest, and then ultimately to the lotus face. That is the process of meditating on the individual limbs of the Lord, and that is called the dhyana stage. And then ultimately, when this meditation becomes very, very deep, very, very concentrated, that actually now becomes samadhi. So this is the description given of the super soul in Srimad Bhagavatam, and this is what advanced Ashtanga yogi should focus his meditation upon. Now we go to the next part. So whatever you just now studied, I would like that if you can focus a little bit on this picture of the Paramatma feature of the Lord. So what do you see here? You see that the Paramatma is standing on the lotus. And what is this lotus signifying? This lotus is signifying the heart of that yogi. So his lotus feet are here. And then you can see he's dressed in a yellowish garment. And his one hand has kanja. Kanja means the lotus. Then in a you can say clockwise direction, if you go, then you will find a chakra, rathanga, and then you have a shankha, and then you have a gada, like that in a clockwise direction. Then you also can see there are ornaments. Then you see a bright, effulgent, smiling face of the Lord. Lotus eyes are here. He's having a mukut headdress, and then he also has ornaments bedecked with jewels. And you also see a garland of fresh flowers on his torso. And you also see the a wreath ornamental wreath around his waist. So this is all painted, prepared as a painting by some devotee in our ISKCON movement. This is the form of the Lord as given in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Anuradha Mataji, can you once again read this?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. The plenary portion of the personality of Godhead, known as the Super Soul, resides within the body in the region of the heart. His four hands carry a lotus, a wheel of a chariot, a conch shell, and a club. His mouth expresses happiness, and his eyes are like the petals of a lotus flower. He wears yellowish garments and gold ornaments set with jewels. On his chest is a Kaustuba gem, and his torso is garlanded with fresh flowers.
Very nice. So you can see all that description is coming from Bhagavatam. So it is better to meditate upon this factual form of the Lord. If you want to advance in your devotional life, then our object of meditation should be this form, not some light or some sound or something else imaginary. No, this is the authorized way of meditating upon the supreme form of the Lord. Okay, now we move to the next part. So in this 13th and 14th verse of the second chapter, the discussion now is getting concluded by Shukdev Goswami. Shukdev Goswami now concludes the discussion. He says that the Dharanashraya of an advanced yogi is the Paramatma form, and the Dharanashraya of a neophyte yogi is the Virat Roop form. So in the 13th verse, he's giving you an explanation of the Paramatma meditation, and in the next verse, in the 14th verse, he will give you the explanation of the Virat Roop meditation. So, Anuradha Mataji, please read the 13th verse. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Paramatma meditation. The process of meditation should begin from the lotus feet of the Lord and progress to his smiling face. The meditation should be concentrated upon the lotus feet, then the calves, then the thighs, and in this way, higher and higher. The more the mind becomes fixed upon the different parts of the limb, one after another, the more the intelligence becomes purified.
Very nice. See, now in this verse, if you see how one should meditate, how one should take darshan of the Lord. So when we go to the temple, when we stand before the deities, how should we take the darshan? The process is described here. He says that should begin, the process of meditation should begin from the lotus feet of the Lord. So first of all, have darshan of the lotus feet of the Lord, and then gradually focus your vision from the lotus feet to the smiling face of the Lord. And how we should do? The meditation should be concentrated upon the lotus feet. First of all, have some meditation for some time on the lotus feet, then move a little bit up. You see the another picture that I have pasted here in the slide. So first of all, start from the lotus feet, then move a little bit up and on the lotus calves of the Lord, then move to the thighs, then higher and higher, and then ultimately focus your meditation on the lotus face of the Lord, like that. And then what is the benefit of doing this meditation? What is the benefit? The more and more mind becomes fixed upon the different parts of the limbs, one after the other, the more the intelligence becomes purified. So this is the important point here. The more the intelligence becomes purified. Now, we might wonder that we have all other nasty things in our heart, in our intelligence: lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, envy. So here, there's a very nice way of purifying our intelligence. How can we purify? Simply by having darshan of the Lord, our heart becomes satisfied, our intelligence becomes purified. So this is the way. So those who are interested in devotional service should keep some picture of the Lord in their house, and they should perform the worship of the Lord, offer arti, and sometime after making a little more progress, after you become a little more serious about this, you can actually purchase deities of the Lord. And the deities of the Lord, you can do abhishek, you can bathe them, you can clothe them, you can put some ornaments around the body of the Lord, you can decorate them very nicely, you can decorate them. Specifically, those who are ladies, they like a lot. They like to dress, they like to decorate their body. So they have this desire of decorating and so on. They can fulfill that desire simply by decorating this body of the Lord. So like this, we can, and what is the benefit? We get spiritual advancement by doing this. We purify our intelligence by doing this. So this is a very nice way of purifying our intelligence. So by decorating the body of the Lord and taking the darshan of the Lord. Now we move to the 14th verse, where the description is given that for a neophyte yogi, he should meditate upon the Virat Roop of the Lord. Okay. Mataji, please read. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. 14. Virat Rupa meditation. Unless the gross materialist develops a sense of loving service unto the Supreme Lord, the seer of both the transcendental and material worlds, he should remember or meditate upon the universal form of the Lord at the end of his prescribed duties.
So again, he is summarizing the discussion. He has discussed about the Virat Roop form for a neophyte yogi. He has discussed about the Paramatma form of the advanced yogi. Now he is concluding the discussion that Paramatma form is for the advanced one, advanced yogi, and the for the neophyte, actually it is the Virat Roop form of the Lord. So for the Virat Roop form of the Lord, why the neophyte is advised to meditate upon the Virat Roop? Because he is a neophyte, he still does not have a good idea about little more detailed aspects of Dhyan Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. He still has doubts whether something like Paramatma exists in the heart. So he is recommended that you better meditate upon the Virat Roop, various elements of this universe. You meditate upon the hills, you meditate upon the rivers, you meditate upon sky, and consider that the rivers actually are the veins of the Lord, hills actually are the bones of the Lord, like that. If you meditate like this, it will purify your intelligence. Slowly and gradually, you will become attached to the personal form of the Lord. And once you become attached to the personal form of the Lord, it will be easier for you now to meditate on the Paramatma form of the Lord. So this is what how Shukdev Goswami is concluding the discussion. How the Dharanashraya of two kind of yogis, one is the Virat Roop and another one is the Paramatma form. Now the discussion continues further. We move to the 15th verse. So in this part of the now we have changed the topic. You see, we have moved to the next section. And in this section, what are we going to do? Practice and process of living for an advanced yogi. So far, the answer has been given. What is the Dharanashraya of a neophyte yogi and what is the Dharanashraya of an advanced yogi? Now, after Dharana, what are the other two stages of the Ashtanga Yoga? Who can answer? After Dharana, what are the two other stages?
Dhyan, Samadhi.
Dhyan and Samadhi. Okay. So now, what does he do in Dhyan? And how does he attain Samadhi? What happens after Samadhi? So in Samadhi, he gets Brahman realization. Brahman realization that everything is about the Brahma Jyoti, and that Brahman realization he gets. After Brahman realization, he has to leave the body. And that yogi, this yogi that you see in the picture here, he has to leave the body and get liberation. So he will now explain you that from the Dharana stage to Dhyana stage to Brahman realization, and now how using performing Shat Chakra Yoga, the yogi actually leaves the body. So now we request Anand Prada Mataji to start reading from the 15th. Yeah.
Yes, Krishna. Yamatu Pratihara. O king, whenever the yogi desires to leave this planet of human beings, he should not be perplexed about the proper time or place, but should comfortably sit without being disturbed, and regulating the life air should control the senses by the mind.
So now he is bringing the discussion back to the initial stages of Dhyan Yoga, which is Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharan, Dhyan, Samadhi. So there are 8 limbs. So he is coming back to the initial preliminary limbs from Yama to Pratyahar. Now how do you see here? So he's saying, Shukdev Goswami is saying to Parikshit Maharaj that if a yogi is desiring to leave this planet, he is now aspiring for liberation and he is trying to leave his body and get liberated, what he should do? He should not be perplexed about whether this time is good or that place is good. No. All the times for this kind of yogi is good. For an advanced yogi, he can live any time or any place. Then what he should do? He should comfortably sit without being disturbed. So this is the asana stage of Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. And then regulating the life air. Regulating the life air means what? Pranayam, Rechak, Kumbhak, whatever. I don't know much details about this, but some words, Rechak, Kumbhak, and so on, all that I know. And should control the senses by the mind. Control the senses by the mind means what? Pratyahar. Pratyahar means where he withdraws his senses and turns them inwards. He's not focusing on various sense objects. This is gulab jamun, this is a very nice, beautiful place. No, he's actually now looking inwards. He's completely focusing inwards. So this is the initial stage. Now read the 16th one.
The stage of Labdho-pashanti. Thereafter, the yogi should merge his mind by his unalloyed intelligence into the living entity and then merge the living entity into the superself. And by doing this, the fully satisfied living entity becomes situated in the supreme state of satisfaction, so that he ceases from all other activities.
Yeah. So this is a little technical wording or technical vocabulary being used in this verse and might sound very intimidating. Say specifically this yogi should merge his mind by his unalloyed intelligence into the living entity and then merge the living entity into the super self. This all might sound very complicated, but we will try to simplify this for you. First of all, let us see what is going on in this verse. Stage of Labdhopashanti. Labdhopashanti. Labdho means actually acquiring. Labdho. Let me read the Hindi translation from the book. So Labdha upashanti. Labdha upashanti. Labdha means to acquire, to prapt kar lena, to obtain. Shanti means in the context of Ashtanga Yogi, Shanti would mean Ananda, Shanti. So stage of ecstasy or stage of peacefulness and so on. You can call it like that. Now, till what stage we discussed in the 15th verse? We discussed this stage of Pratyahar. Now, after Pratyahar, the stage comes is Dharana. So, in order to obtain Labdhop Shanti means complete transcendence, Brahma realization, or you can say completely detached from anything material, any material and understanding of this word, completely detachment from that. What he should do? He should merge his mind by his unalloyed intelligence into the living entity and then merge the living entity into the super self. So, man into the buddhi and the buddhi into the atma and the atma into the paramatma. Like that, there is a sequence given, which might sound very technical and may have some difficulty in understanding what is going on. So, in order to understand this, we should understand, first of all, when the creation takes place, how does the creation take place? How many different types of paramatmas are there? Can somebody tell me? Different paramatmas. How many types of paramatmas are there? And what are the names of those paramatmas?
Paramatma. I just heard one Paramatma.
No, we discussed three. In Bhagavatam, there are three.
Okay.
Shirodakshay.
Yes. Shirodaksha is one.
Okay. Purushavataram.
Purushavtar. Yes. Garbhodaksha is another one. But who is the chief? Who's the Karnodaksha? So what is the sequence among these three? What is the sequence?
Karnodaksha, Garbhodaksha, and Shirodaksha.
Very nice. So Karnodaksha Vishnu is the Mahavishnu form, which is an expansion of Lord Krishna. So from the Karnodaksha Vishnu, there are various, you can say the universes emanate from the body. Karnodaksha Vishnu. And what this Karanadaksha Vishnu does, so everything comes from Karanadaksha Vishnu. The living entity also comes from Karanadaksha Vishnu. How? So the living entities from the previous creation actually were resting in the body of Karanadaksha Vishnu. So when the Karanadaksha Vishnu glances at material nature and impregnates the material nature with the living entity, then the living entity actually takes some form. So that is how the living entity comes into this in this world from Karanadaksha, from Karanadaksha Vishnu. Actually, the living entity comes. Now, when the living entity wants liberation, the process is very similar, but in the reverse direction. So what this living entity should do? Living entity should first of all control the mind. And how the living entity should control the mind? Using his intelligence, using his buddhi. Buddhi means intelligence should tell the living entity that no, my job is to liberate myself. I don't want this matter of or the world of birth and death. I want to liberate myself. So using his intelligence, he should control the mind and control the mind by meditating upon the super soul, the Paramatma. So the Paramatma, from the Paramatma comes the living entity, but the living entity, when he starts to focus again by controlling the mind, using his intelligence, uh, uh, then the process of liberation starts. Once again, he starts to go back to the same. Uh, Going back again to the Paramatma actually is called liberation. So living entity came from Paramatma and going back to Paramatma is actually liberation. So this is what it means. The yogi should merge his mind using his intelligence into the living entity and then merge the living entity into the super soul, into the Paramatma. So this first 3-4 lines of this verse that might seem a little complicated, too technical, too intimidating, we can understand it like that. And once he does this meditation like this, controls the mind using his intelligence and focuses on Paramatma, he gets Shanti, he gets peace, Labdhopa Shanti. And by doing this, the fully satisfied living entity becomes situated in the supreme stage of satisfaction. This is called Labdhopa Shanti. Very peaceful. He has no lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, envy. Why? Because he has controlled his mind and he has focused, he is meditating on the form of the Lord, the form that we just now discussed. And we also discussed that when you meditate upon the form of the Lord, your heart, your intelligence becomes purified. So lust gone, anger gone, pride gone, illusion gone, envy gone, everything, all these nonsense business that is there in the heart is all gone. This is called Labdhop Shanti. He becomes very, very peaceful. So you might have heard in Bhagavad Gita also, Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma Na Sochati Na Kankshati. So this is what that Na Sochati Na Kankshati. He has become Prasanna Atma. Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma. That is the description here in Bhagavatam. Okay, please read the 17th one, Mother.
Stage of Labdopashanti. In that transcendental state of Labdopashanti, there is no supremacy of devastating time, which controls even the celestial demigods who are empowered to rule over mundane creatures. And what to speak of the demigods themselves? Nor is there the mode of material goodness, nor passion, nor ignorance, nor even the false ego, nor the material possession, nor the material nature.
Yeah. So what is the Labdhop Shanti stage? In the Labdhop Shanti stage, there is no supremacy of devastating time. Time means what? Kala. Kala means what is the function of time in this material world? The function of time in this material world is to destroy. But what this time can destroy for this yogi is already transcendental. Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma. He will the Kal can destroy the body itself, but he is no longer attached to his body. He is completely detached from the body, completely detached from the senses. Everything controlled, everything focused completely, dedicatedly, concentratedly on the Paramatma form of the Lord. He is completely absorbed. The Samadhi stage means what? Samadhi stage means where there is no I would say, no connection with the material body, is completely detached from the material body. He is only absorbed, completely absorbed in the Paramatma form of the Lord. Completely absorbed, full absorption. Like when we see television and sometimes we see the cricket match, we are completely absorbed in the cricket match. Even if our wife or our mother or our relatives shouting behind from the kitchen, come, your dinner is ready, your dinner is ready. We don't hear it. We are only completely absorbed in that cricket match. Similarly, this yogi is now completely absorbed in the form of the Lord. He is completely Brahman. He has nothing to do with the material form. So what this time could destroy to this yogi is completely now in the absorbed stage of Paramatma. So uh, this time which controls even the celestial demigods. So the demigods like Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Brahma, etc., all these devatas, they are also under the control, under the grip of the time. Why? Because they are in this material world. Brahmaji also is Satyaloka. Brahmaji also has a life. He also takes birth and he also dies. So he is also subject to this material energy. So, but this yogi, when he's completely in the samadhi stage, he has nothing to do with the nothing to worry about this control of time, which controls even the demigods. And what to speak of that? So, who are empowered to rule over mundane creatures. So, in this material world, we are ruled by these demigods as agencies of the Lord. So, we get rain from Indra, we get light from Surya, we get wind from Varuna, or water from wind from Varuna, like that. So, we have multiple agencies of demigods who control us. But once this yogi is in the samadhi stage, he is beyond the time, he is neither subject to the control of demigods, he is neither subject to the control of any creature, he is neither any control of any time. Neither he is in control, he is controlled by any gunas, sattva guna, rajo guna, tamo guna, because he has crossed over that stage. He has become gunatit. Gunatit, he has now Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma, he has uh, no contamination of these goodness, passion, or ignorance, nor even false ego, nor even material causal ocean, nor the material nature. Anything related with matter, he has nothing to do with now. He is completely beyond these, beyond all these stages. So this is the stage of Labdhopashanti, Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma, na shochiti na kankshiti. So qualitatively, he is no different from Brahman. Brahman means the supreme spirit. Yeah? He is the supreme bright effulgent light that is there in the spiritual realm. Is equivalent to that. That is what the stage of Labdhop Shanti is. Okay, now we go to the next one.
Brahman
Yes.
realization. The transcendentalists desire to avoid everything godless, for they know that supreme situation in which everything is related with the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Therefore, a pure devotee who is in absolute harmony with the Lord does not create perplexities but worships the Lord, the lotus feet of the Lord at every moment, taking them into his heart.
Yeah, so as I described you in my previous slide, every moment he is absorbed in the worshipping of the lotus feet of the Lord. Every moment. He has nothing to do with anything matter. So the transcendentalist desire to avoid everything godless. So he does not want to, he actually does not think of anything godless, anything godless. Uh, uh, for they know that supreme situation in which everything is related to the Supreme Lord, Vishnu. Therefore, a pure devotee who is in absolute harmony with the Lord, absolute harmony with the Lord. As I'm mentioning to you, Brahma Bhuta. Brahma Bhuta means situated in the Brahman stage. Situated in the Brahman stage means all the dirty things of the heart has gone away. Now the Atma is very pure. All the dirty covering on the heart, on the Atma is gone. And this Atma now is qualitatively as pure as the Brahman, as the Supreme Lord Brahman, like that. Absolute harmony with the Lord does not create perplexities, but worships the lotus feet of the Lord at every moment, taking them into his heart. This is Brahman realization. He is now completely into Brahman realization, completely in samadhi. That is what this is 18th verse. Now we go to the, now when he is completely in samadhi, what is the next stage? He is completely in harmony with the Brahman. Now the next stage is to leave the body. Leave the body, and the process they use is Shat Chakra Yoga. This is a mechanical process. Shat Chakra Yoga is a mechanical process. So the yogi employs this mechanical process to leave this body, and that is in the 19th verse. Yes, Madhavi, please proceed.
The chakra yoga and liberation. By the strength of scientific knowledge, one should be well situated in absolute realization and thus be able to extinguish all material desires. One should then give up the material body by blocking the air hole through which stool is evacuated with the heel of one's foot and by lifting the life air from one place to another in the 6 primary places.
Yes. So now this Shat Chakra Yoga, as you can see the picture here, there are 6 chakras. One starting from the bottom, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this 7th one actually is the location of the Brahmarandhra. So these 6 chakras have their specific names. So the bottommost one is known as Mooladhar Chakra. Mooladhar Chakra. Mool means the root. So the Pranavayu is situated in the Mooladhar Chakra. And then this yogi who wants now to leave the body for liberation lifts his Pranavayu from the Mooladhar Chakra, gradually brings it to the next one, which is known as Swadhisthana Chakra. This Swadhisthana Chakra is little bit below the navel that is there in our body. Then at the location of the navel is the Manipuraka Chakra, and then little bit above at the region of the heart is Anahat Chakra, and then we have Vishuddha Chakra. Vishuddha Chakra is just below the throat here, where the root of our palate, our tongue is. So our tongue is connected somewhere at this location. So here is the Vishuddha Chakra below the throat, and from the Vishuddha Chakra he lifts this Pranavayu to Agya Chakra. Agya Chakra is situated between the 2 eyebrows. So you will see here, you should read here. One should then give up the material body by blocking the air hole. Blocking the air hole means this yogi uses the heel of the foot. Using the heel of the foot, he blocks this location which is known as anus. Through the passage of anus, we evacuate the stool in our day-to-day life. We evacuate the stool from that part. So this yogi used the heel and blocked that part. He blocks it and then lifts the air from the Mooladhar Chakra gradually to the Agya Chakra. He brings the life air in the middle at the Agya Chakra. And then you can see that once he brings it to the Agya Chakra, he actually now pierces the Brahmarandhra. So the next process you will see is given in the next verse, 20th verse. Please read, Madhavi.
Shat Chakra Yoga and Liberation. The meditative devotee should slowly push up the life air from the navel to the heart, from there to the chest, and from there to the root of the palate. He should research out the proper places with intelligence.
Now, as I'm mentioning to you, that he lifts this Pranavayu from the Mooladhar Chakra all the way to the Agya Chakra. And then from the Agya Chakra, he leaves this body through the Brahmarandhra. Then a little bit more description is given in the 21st verse. Let us see what is being mentioned here.
Thereafter, the yogi should push the life air up between the eyebrows and then blocking the 7 outlets of the life air, he should maintain his aim for going back home, back to Godhead. If he is completely free from all desires for material enjoyment, he should then reach the cerebral pole and give up his material connections, having gone to the Supreme.
Yeah, now you can see the picture here. In this picture, you will see this yogi who's leaving the body. He's sitting in a meditative trance in samadhi. And from here, from Brahmarandra, he leaves the body and then achieves Brahman realization. He goes to the Brahma Jyoti aspect. He merges into the Brahma Jyoti. That is how it is being mentioned here. And you can see here, there are some details here. The yogi should push the life air up between the eyebrows. This is the Agya Chakra, somewhere here, in the between the eyebrows, Agya Chakra. And then blocking the 7 outlets of the life air. 7 outlets of the life air means what? There are 2 outlets through the ear, 2 through the eyes, 2 through the nostrils. These are 6, and the 7th is the mouth. So he blocks them, because most of the time when the people leave their body, they might leave their body from one of these outlets, because they are the holes in the body. They leave through there. Most commonly, people leave through the mouth. When you see the person dying, you will see when the person actually collapses, there is some air, pranavayu, actually comes out from the mouth. How you can know that? Sometimes there is a saliva in the mouth, and then you will see that the saliva, there is some small bubble that actually forms in the front of the mouth. So Prabhupada also mentions that normally when the person dies, he leaves this pranavayu through the passage of the mouth. And if you see that yogi is actually has pierced his Brahmarandra, that is a short sign that he has got liberation. So if he pierces from here. But this is simply what we are discussing about Ashtanga Yoga. Mainly Shukdev Goswami is explaining it because some of the sages hold this opinion. For us, this is not to be getting attracted towards Ashtanga Yoga and Brahmarandra and all this Shata Chakra Yoga and all that. Our process is very, very simple. Our devotional process is mainly to focus on hearing, remembering, and chanting the glories of the Lord. And at the time of our death, remember the Lord, and the Lord will take care of us. So that is our process, devotional process. So some more details that has been given here is the yogi, when he lifts his life air through these different chakras, he has to do it very slowly and very carefully. Prabhupada mentioned in the purport that he has to do it very slowly and carefully. Why? Because air can go in a different parts of the body. So he has to lift this very, very slowly and gently. So that is why these yogis have a very enormous control of their bodies. So they control their mind, they control their bodies very nicely in a very detailed way. That is the reason why, because they can control this pranavayu and all the way lift it to the Agya Chakra and then depart from the Brahmarandra. Okay. So this is 21st. Now we move to the next part. Okay, Mataji, please read this link to the next section. Yeah.
Having described the path of Paramatma meditator in 2:15 to 21, which gives direct liberation, Shukdev Goswami now describes the path of Virat meditator, which gives gradual liberation, karma.
Krama Mukti. So far we have discussed about how advanced yogi gets liberation. So Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, then Dharan. So this advanced yogi Dharana Ashraya is Paramatma, feature of the Lord. From that he goes to Dhyan. Then from Dhyan to Samadhi. Samadhi, he gets Brahman realization. In Brahman realization, he gets Shat Chakra Yoga and then gets liberation. That's what we saw. Now, from Dharana stage, if this advanced yogi or this yogi still has desires, then he has to perform Dharana Ashraya, he has to perform meditation upon Virat Roop form. In the Virat Roop form, if he is able to cleanse himself, he's get rid of his desires, then he forms the same path as the advanced yogi and gets liberation. But if he still has some desires, then he has to do Krama Mukti. So this is what is being mentioned here. Shukdev Goswami now describes the path of the Virat Roop meditator, which gives gradual liberation through Krama Mukti. Gradual liberation. Gradual means Kram. one by one, stage by stage, he gets gradual liberation. So let us see what is this Krama Mukti is. Okay. Please read 20 seconds.
However, O king, if a yogi maintains a desire for improved material enjoyments, like transference to the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, or the achievement of the eightfold perfections, travel in outer space with uh, v- Vayahas, Vayahasas, or a situation in one of the millions of planets, then he has to take away with him the materially molded mind and senses.
Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the Krama Mukti process. Krama Mukti process is mainly for the neophyte yogi who still has material desires. So it is being mentioned. O king, if a yogi maintains a desire for improved material enjoyments. So this yogi is doing Ashtanga yoga, he's doing dharana, he's meditating upon the Virat root form of the Lord, but he desires for liberation, but still has desires. His mind has not cleansed completely, is not completely free of desires. So, and what kind of desires he might have? So, the example of desires is given in this verse. So, he can have desires to go to Brahmaloka. He can have desires for eightfold perfections. Eightfold perfections means what? Ashtasiddhis. Ashtasiddhis. Uh, and he can travel to outer space. He may have desires that I might like to go to this planet, that loka, Swarga loka, Mahar loka, Tapor loka, etc., etc. Like we have desires to go to see maybe America, Australia, or maybe Europe, or maybe this part and that part of the world. Similarly, this yogi might have desires to go to see different lokas, and then travel in outer space with the Vahayasas, or a situation in one of the millions of planets, and then he has to take away with him materially molded mind and senses. So mind and senses means where are these desires residing? These desires are actually residing in the mind, and the senses are connected with the mind. So he has to take this mind and senses with him. What does it mean? In the case of perfected yogi, in the advanced yogi, we did not discuss about mind and senses. What did we discuss about? We discussed that he has to control his mind with the intelligence, and using his controlled mind, he has to invest this mind into the Paramatma. So the mind is completely now, for an advanced yogi, is completely gone. It is absorbed in Paramatma. It's completely purified. But in the case of the neophyte yogi, the mind is not completely purified. The mind is having desires. So he has to take gradual liberation. He has to, grade by grade, step by step, he has to, first of all, with his mind and senses, he has to actually go to different places, different lokas. So I hope that is clear. So there are different siddhis. So some points from the Prabhupada's purport. So different siddhis. There are 8 different siddhis. Anima siddhi. In Anima siddhi, this yogi can actually become smaller than the smallest. He can become very small. Laghima siddhi. In Laghima siddhi, the yogi can actually become very light, lighter than the feather. Mahima siddhi, he can become very heavy, heavier than the heaviest. Ishitva siddhi. Ishitva siddhi means he can create and destroy at will. And Vashitva siddhi. Vashitva siddhi means he can wash, he can control everything. Prakamya siddhi. Prakamya siddhi means he can fulfill all his desires, no failure of desires. And then he can have Kam Vashayita. Kam Vashayita siddhi. Kam Vashayita siddhi means he can have any form. He can take any form. And he can have Prapti siddhi. Prapti siddhi means he can acquire anything from anywhere. Like, for example, if I desire to have apple from Kashmir, so the yogi will do what? He just do like this, and then will get an apple from Kashmir. This is the siddhi. So this is the yogis can have any of these siddhis. By the process of Ashtanga yoga, they can acquire any of these siddhis. But Prabhupada mentioned in his purport that these siddhis are nothing but only desire to control material nature. Like scientists also are trying to control material nature. They are trying to control material nature by material means. They will create some machine, they will create some technology, and so on. And using that technology, they can control material nature. Now we have this internet, we have this laptop, we have this all these internet facility available. So we are able to control our transportation of our communication, our picture, etc., etc. So similarly, the Ashtanga Yogi, specifically those who want to have some desire, some material siddhis, through the process of Ashtanga Yoga, they can actually acquire any of these siddhis. So what Prabhupada is saying that those people who are inhabitants of higher lokas like Satyaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, etc., etc., they already have these kind of siddhis with them. They don't require all these siddhis. But this Ashtanga Yogi, which is living on this material planet, on this earth planet, he can acquire these siddhis by the process of Ashtanga Yoga. And then we as human beings require spaceships to go to moon, to go to Mars, etc., etc. But these people, Ashtanga Yogis, can actually travel in outer space with these siddhis, or they can do a lot of other things. So this is something which is which is being mentioned here. The different kind of desires of a neophyte Ashtanga Yogi who still have some desires but also want to have liberation. So this is the 22nd verse which explains all that. Okay, we move to the link. Okay, Mataji, please read.
Though the yogi may enjoy, but that is not the same enjoyment of the karmis.
So here, one important point that we need to understand is that this yogi has a desire for enjoyment, but his desire for enjoyment is different from the enjoyment that the karmi desire. So if a karmi desire enjoyment and want to go Swarga Loka, what does he do? He has to perform karmakandic activities. But this yogi actually wants to go to these other lokas, mainly not for material enjoyment, but for the purpose of getting liberation. So their enjoyment is different from the enjoyment of the karmis. Karmis want to enjoy simply wealth, opulence, opposite sex, etc. And for that, they actually perform karmakandic activities and go to Swarga. But the yogi wants to gain liberation, and he wants to simply is curious to see other lokas, other planets, enjoy with Brahma Loka, with Brahmaji, etc., etc. That is his nature of enjoyment. Okay. Now we request Vrindavaneshwari Mataji to read from the 23rd verse onwards. Yeah.
Yes. Karma Mukti or gradual liberation. The transcendentalists are concerned with the spiritual body. As such, by the strength of their devotional service of charities, mystic power, and transcendental knowledge, their movements are unrestricted within and beyond the material world. The fruitive workers of gross materialists can never move in such an unrestricted manner.
Yeah. So as I was mentioning to you, the enjoyment of a karmi or a fruitive worker is different, and the enjoyment of this advanced transcendentalist, or you can say this Ashtanga Yogi of a neophyte nature, he has performed a lot of austerities, a lot of you can say jnana, or you can say vidya, tapa, yoga, jnana, etc., etc. So he has performed a lot of austerities compared to a normal or a common karmi. So because he has done something special, he gets this power of moving in the outer space. He gets these ashtasiddhis. He gets all these kind of benefits. So this is the 23rd verse is trying to explain that how a karmi's enjoyment is different from the yogi's enjoyment. So that is the 23rd verse. Now we move to the verse ranging from 24th to 27th. And what is this verse explaining to you? This verse is explaining to you that this neophyte yogi having some desires, how does he get liberation through krama mukti? So, like we have an airplane, if you want to go from Delhi to Bombay, we can fly from Delhi straight away, directly land into Delhi. We don't get stopovers in between. We can, in one shot, we can go to Delhi. Similarly, this advanced yogi, through this focusing on meditating upon the Paramatma, actually can straight away go to the Brahma Jyoti, can straight away get liberation, direct liberation. But this neophyte yogi gets gradual liberation. He goes, first of all, he will travel from Bombay to maybe some other place, then from that place to some other place, then enjoy that place, spend some time there, then go to the other place, fulfill his desire to see that loka, etc., etc. And then ultimately he will come to Delhi. Like that, he will go. So, this is the path of the yogi. Then the description of the loka, and then what does he achieve in that loka, that is actually given in the form of a table. So verse number 24, 26, 25, 26, 27, where Krama Mukti is given, is explained, is given through this table. So please read the first stop. So he is now going to which loka?
First stop. Vaishvanar Loka.
Vaishvanar.
Vaishvanar
Loka.
Vaishvanar Loka.
Yeah.
Planet of beauty of fire.
Hmm.
It cleans of all, he is cleansed of all desires.
So in the
Next.
yeah, I'll explain Mataji one by one. So in the Vaishvanar Loka, so first of all, he goes to Vaishvanar Loka. From Vaishvanar Loka, what does he see? He finds the deity of fire, Agni Dev. And that is the planet of Agni Dev. And in this Agni Dev's planet, the benefit he gets is he is cleansed of all desires. So that is where his desires are cleaned and Vaishvanar Loka. Now the second stop.
Vishumaru, navel of Vishnu, pivot of the turning of the universe, relates with Lord Hari.
So next stop is Shishumar Lok. In Shishumar Lok, it is considered like a navel of Lord Vishnu, and it is also the pivot. Pivot means in Hindi we call it dhuri. Dhuri, like we have a lattu. So that lattu, if we rotate this lattu, it rotates on a spin. So similarly, this whole universe is rotating or turning on a point which is known as Shishumar Lok. So in Shishumar Lok, what does he do? What does he achieve in Shishumar Lok? He meets Lord Vishnu, or he can relate now with Lord Hari. That is where what happens in Shishumar Lok. Okay, the third stop, Mataji.
Maharloka, purified sages like Bridi, who lived for a Mahakalpa who died. These the three words burning in the fire form the mouth of Ananta at the end of Brahma's life.
Yeah. So now he goes to Maharlok. Maharlok means these are all higher planets. Maharlok. So here he meets very purified sages like Bhrigu. And what happens sometimes, this is a little more detail, that there are 14 planetary systems, and these planetary systems, they tend to get destroyed, partial destruction, when partial destruction happens. So some part of these planetary system get destroyed. The topmost planet do not get destroyed when the partial destruction takes place. So this is what is being mentioned here, that when this yogi goes to Maharlok, he is able to see destruction of other lower planets happening. And how this destruction happen? This destruction happen from the burning on the fire from the mouth of Ananta. And then at the end of Brahma's life also he sees this destruction, and he also meets these sages like Bhrigu, which are very, very pure, and they reside there in Maharloka till Mahakalpa. For a very long duration they reside. So what is the fourth one?
Brahman, no lamentation, excellent.
So
Except feel compassion for the suffering non-living.
Yeah. So here, when he goes to Satyaloka or Brahmaloka, this is the topmost planet in the 14 planetary system. So here the description is there is no lamentation, there is no old age, there is no death, there is no problem there, feels compassion for the suffering non-devotee. But here he feels compassion for the other devotees, other people who are non-devotees who are actually suffering there. So this is the description of Brahmaloka. Okay, now we move forward. Okay, please read this text.
After reaching Brahmaloka, if the yogi desires to stay until the end of Brahma's life, he attains liberation at that time with Brahma. However, if he desires liberation before that, he pierces the 7 coverings of the universe and enters Brahma.
Yeah. Now this yogi is going for liberation, going different places, going one station, second station, third station, fourth station, like that. So in the Brahmaloka, he has two choices. He can either reside in Brahmaloka till the life of Brahmaji ends, their destruction happens, and when everything destroys, everything goes back into the body of the Mahavishnu, like the Paramatma, Karanadaksha Vishnu. Or if he desires that he needs liberation right now, at that very moment, then he can choose to do so. But for that, he has to cover 7 coverings. So in the Brahmanda, in the universe, there are 7 coverings. These 7 coverings are made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, like that. These are 7 coverings. Now you can see, I have shown a picture here. Can you see the picture here?
Yeah.
Can you see, Mataji, Vandana Mataji? Can you
Yes.
see this picture?
Yes.
You see this, in this
Yes.
picture, there is a universe given, Anda, Brahmanda. It's in the form of an egg, Anda,
Yeah.
Brahmanda. Now, you see here, although it is written in a very small text, there are different planets, from Patal Lok all the way up to Brahma Lok. You can see there's a small picture of Brahmaji mentioned, given here.
Yes.
So when this yogi is in Brahma Lok, he can get liberation, because here you can see Brahma Jyoti is there above. That's where he wants to go. So from Brahmalok, he has to pierce these layers. There are several layers: earth, air, water, fire. There are 7 layers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 layers are there. He has to pierce these 7 layers and then come out from this material universe and then enter the Brahma Jyoti. This is the process given. So is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, you can read it once again.
Yeah. After reaching Brahmaloka, if the yogi desires to stay until the end of Brahma's life, he attains liberation at that time with Brahma. However, if he desires liberation before that, he pierces the 7 coverings of the universe and enters Brahma.
Is it clear?
No, I mean, how can one stay until the end of Brahma's life? What does that mean? Brahmaji ki life to, anant hai, and
Yeah, so he has
Jiva is so
that
small.
choice. He has reached Brahmaloka. He has reached
Okay.
Brahmaloka by the dint, by the austerities, by the tapasya, by the knowledge, by the jnana he has acquired. He has now, from all these various stops, he has now entered into Brahmaloka. So he has 2 choices.
Can I say this in this way कि ब्रह्मलोक पहुंचने के बाद उनको ये सिद्धि आ जाती है कि शरीर रखें कि ना रखें? Is that it?
Yeah, correct. That is what he has choice. He can either live till the end, till the life of Brahma's very long life. Brahma has a very long life. So he can choose till that point, or if he wants liberation, then he has to pierce these 7 layers, as I was showing it to you in this picture. These 7 layers. So he has choice. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Other devotees, maybe, is it clear? Maybe Anand Prada Mataji, or maybe anyone else. Jai Mala Mataji, Jayanti Mataji. Is it making sense? Manish ji, Anuradha ji, is it
Yes,
all
Prabhu,
description making?
Only one thing is he has to desire where he wants to take liberation, correct? It is his
Yeah.
own choice.
His choice. His choice.
But
Yes.
then he has to do something different to cover up these seven, whatever you said, 7 coverings separately. He has to do something different.
He has to desire. No, I want
Okay.
to liberate now. So he has to pierce that covering.
Okay,
And the
okay.
description of that piercing is also given. He has to take that body, earth body, fire body, and so on. That is description is given, but we are not going into that detail.
Okay, okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay. So we go to the next one, 28th.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Jayanti Mataji. Yes.
Prabhu, I want to know that step by step to go and reach Goloka, you have to go through all these planets.
No. We are not going to go look up through this route. This is for the Dhyan Yogi, for the Ashtang Yogi.
Okay.
We are not Ashtang Yogis. We are simple devotees. We are
Okay.
chanting Hare
So we
Krishna.
have to go through many processes to go to reach.
No. We simply
But
need to.
but is
Okay. Yeah.
I was thinking the same question, प्रभु जी.
Hmm.
मतलब एक भक्त को गोलोक तक जाने के लिए पहले ब्रह्म बोध संपन्न तो होना पड़ेगा ना.
नहीं माता जी,
ऐसा नहीं होता. डायरेक्ट गोलोक.
नहीं.
हाँ?
आपको उसका चिंता नहीं करना है. आपको डायरेक्ट
Okay.
गोलोक का टिकट मिलेगा. आपको डायरेक्ट गोलोक का टिकट मिलेगा. What you need to do is simply perform devotional service with sincerity. Chant your holy name.
Okay.
Follow 4 regulative principles. Eat Krishna Prasad. If you have some capacity, do some preaching. Keep hearing, chanting, remembering the Supreme Lord with full sincerity. And then at the time of the death, it will be most likely that you will remember the Lord, and then the Lord will take care. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam jajjanti eva kalevaram. Then the Lord says that I will take care of such devotee. So that is your process. That is our process. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So Jayanti Mataji, don't desire for Satyalok and Brahmalok, and don't desire for any other lok.
Okay, Prabhuji.
We are Golok Vasis, or future.
Okay,
In future, we are going to go there. Okay.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay.
Prabhu, we have forgotten association of devotees. It is
Sorry,
important.
Prabhu, Vinayak ji. Yes.
Association of devotees is most important.
Yes. Certainly. Without that, we can't make any progress. You are right. Okay. So, Vrindavaneshwari Mataji, 28th.
Yes. After reaching Satyaloka, the devotee is specifically able to be incorporated fearlessly by the subtle body in an identity similar to that of God's body. And one after another, he gradually attains stages of existence from earthly to watery, hearing, fiery, glowing, and airy until he reaches the ethereal state.
Yeah. So this is the process that is given here in the 28th verse, where he's, as I was mentioning to you, he has to pierce these 7 coverings. One is earth, air, water, fire, etc., etc. So this is the process given here, where I can read from the other book for you if you are interested. Just give me 1 second. I'll pick up this book, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's book. There, this is the whole process is given, where in the 28th verse. So first he attains the first layer of earth, 5 billion yojanas thick, covering the universe, measuring 5 billion yojanas in width. How does he do this? He takes a form of earth. Attaining the other layers should be understood in the same way. He is devoid of any fear of suffering to the body from burning or other dangers. Then he attains the layer of water, which is 10 times thicker than the earth layer, with the water body. Then with the form of fire, he attains the layer of fire 10 times thicker than the water layer. Then he attains these various forms to enjoy the sense objects of each layer. In earth, with an earth body, he can enjoy the sense objects of smell. And in the water layer, with the water body, he can enjoy the sense object of taste. After some time, with that fiery body, he attains the layer of air 10 times thicker, and then with a fire body, with an air body, he then attains the layer of ether 10 times thicker than the air layer. In this, it is a form of a great soul like this. So you can see in each of these coverings, earth layer, water layer, fire layer, he is also fulfilling his desires. So in the earth layer, he is enjoying the fragrance. In the water layer, he is enjoying the taste. So like that, he is going on, gradual, krama mukti. Okay. Don't ask me how to do this. I don't know. This is the explanation given in Bhagavatam by Acharyas. So that is
Yeah. No, I mean, many incidents have been talked about in different books, like सिद्धियां होती हैं कि person ऐसे हवा में हाथ घुमाया and he can bring water में ही वो सबको taste करा देता है. अभी taste करो आम पन्ना, अभी taste करो buttermilk and so on. So maybe something to do with that.
Yeah, something. These are some special things, but we need to understand all of them in the right context, in the right spirit, and understand that these are not for us. These are mainly for Ashtanga yogis. But the point I am trying to make here is in Srimad Bhagavatam, in our scriptures, such detailed explanation for all these things are given here, which if we are trying to study on our own, sometimes we are not able to understand, follow, because they are very technical, they are beyond our imagination, they are beyond our understanding, they are beyond our experiences. So, but with the help of the acharyas and some like these detailed commentaries, we can understand them. They are not something imagination, or they are not something which is superstition. They are which we might have heard from different places, but we don't believe them like that. Okay. Okay, Mataji, we are short of time, so I mean, I have given you the I have given you the explanation, but simply we complete this by reading all the relevant passages. 29.
The devotee thus surpasses the subtle objects of different senses, like aroma by smelling, the palate by tasting, vision by seeing forms, touch by contacting, the vibration of the ear by material identification, and the sense organs by material activity.
Yeah, so if you will, so you will see that the process of creation we will describe in the later chapters, of this canto 2. So as the creation takes place, similarly this is going on in reverse direction. He's first of all leaving his attachment to the senses of you can see the smell, then the taste, then the seeing, then the touch, then the ear, all that. So he is gradually, as he was getting it in the process of creation, he is getting liberated. He is getting liberated from all that in the reverse direction and going back to the Brahman form. Okay. 30th.
The devotee, thus surpassing the gross and the subtle forms of covering, enters the plane of egoism, and that in that status he merges the material modes of nature, ignorance and passion, in this point of neutralization, and thus reaches egoism in goodness. After this, all egoism is merged in Mahatattva, and he comes to the point of pure self-realization.
Yeah, so you can see here, so there are 8 energies: earth, air, water, fire, ether. And then there are 3 subtle energies, which is mind, ego, and mind, intelligence, and false ego. So he first of all leaves the gross coverings, then he leaves the subtle coverings, surpassing the gross and subtle coverings, enters the plane of egoism, then the status he merges the material modes of nature. So he also leaves these gunas, sattva guna, rajoguna, tamoguna, and then he merges into the mahat tattva, and then he comes to the point of pure self-realization. So like that. Okay, 31st. So maybe we will avoid chanting the verse. Just read the translation, Madhu.
O king, he merges himself in his Swarupa along with Pradhana into the blissful, unchanging form of Mahavishnu. With that termination, he remains blissful He who has attained this goal does not return to the material.
So you can see that details are coming here. All the 7 layers he's piercing, and then he's now no more coming back to the material world. He's entering into the spiritual world. He's very blissful now. He's reaching his destination. 30-second.
Your Majesty, Maharaj Parikshit, know that all that I have described in reply to your proper inquiry is just according to the version of the Vedas, and it is eternal truth. This was described personally by Lord Krishna unto Brahma, with whom the Lord was satisfied upon being properly worshipped.
Yeah, now Shukdev Goswami is giving reference to Parikshit Maharaj, from where I am getting all this knowledge and from where I am understanding all these things. So he's saying that the whole process of Krama Mukti and all these details actually were described by Lord Krishna to Brahmaji. So this is what from where I have understood, and that is where he's giving that reference and explaining it to Parikshit Maharaj. So this is actually all completing all that description of Karma Mukti and all that. So with that, we conclude our class today. I hope that was interesting. Don't try to follow all this Karma Mukti and Ashtanga Yoga business. Our process is very, very simple. Smarana Kirtan and Shravana Kirtan and remembrance. That is our process. So we will Bhakti Yogis, not Ashtanga Yogis. Okay. So all glory to Srimad Bhagavatam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada. Any questions? Sorry, I took a little more, but I wanted to finish this Krama Mukti business so that next class I can start glorification of Bhakti Yoga process once again. Any questions you have? Was it interesting? I find it very interesting, very graphic description of how the Ashtanga Yogi moves.
It is quite interesting, definitely.
Yeah. So Shivan Prabhu, Nana Mataji found this
lot of complexities.
a lot of complexities for Ashtanga Yogi. Our process is very simple. Simply chant Hare Krishna, eat prasad, attach, associate with devotees, and then remember Krishna at the time of death, and the Lord will take care.
It's true.
Our is a outsourced business. आपको हाथ में कमान सौंप दिया है, आप जानो आपका काम जानो. हमारा काम ये है. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. The class was very interesting.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Okay, ji, thank you very much. Chaliye, so we end the class. We'll meet in the next class, next Sunday, with more details from Bhagavatam. Okay, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
So, Aniji,
Thank
Aniji,
you, Prabhuji.
happy with the class?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay,
Absolutely.
chaliye. Very nice. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat, ma'am.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.